Hello, my good people. Welcome back to the channel. In case you're coming across this channel for the first time, welcome to the channel as well. I hope you're doing good wherever you are, and I'm happy to see you here. Thank you very much for sparing your time to pass by this channel to see what we have for you in today's video. And I promise you, as usual, we have some jewels for you. Of course, we have something interesting, something intriguing and thought provoking for you in this video. So stay tuned. Okay, so just to begin, in our previous video, we were talking about the growing disinterest or lack of interest between Africa, especially West Africa, and France, the former colonial master of the region. And we'll just delve into a few factors to what is really necessitating this breakaway of African states that were former colonies of France. Why are they breaking away from their colonial master? And we talked about a few reasons, about 6 of them. And today in this video, I think it is going to be good to do a follow-up on maybe a part 2 of that. Will be doing ourselves justice. And I often say one thing, I believe that once a lie is told so many times by so many people over a long, a certain period of time, considerably long, people begin to believe in the lie, and it doesn't matter how far from the truth is the lie. That is exactly the tactic that has been used to demean, to disenfranchise the black person. Black person has been fed false narrative about their blackness, about themselves, to an extent where they begin to believe they're less compared to other people. The same case for this new truth, for this truth, maybe not new, we need to keep going. No, we cannot afford to tire at this time. We have to keep telling and retelling the story of the truth, to preach this gospel, to emancipate Africa at some point. Now, I have something for you here, and I believe I want to share this so we can watch together. And along this, we will be inputting our own, analysis, understanding into this very, very interesting, thought provoking, and maybe frustrating video. So let's jump right into the video and let's see what's going on here. So here's the video.
In Ghana, we have allowed the United States of America to establish its military base on our soil. Under the agreement which allows the U.S. to establish this military base, our head of state is stopped from entering that territory. The U.S. military base is not accessible even to the head of state. As if that was not enough, in the agreement,
Yes, that the president of Ghana. So there was this agreement, I think it was in 2018, between the United States of America and Ghana, that allowed the United States of America to set up a camp for its army in 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 Ghana. And now, when this was as part of the agreement, the president is to say the highest official in that country cannot access this troops facility for reasons of confidentiality. I'm not an expert, I'm not a security matters expert or a regional security, or I'm not even a diplomat. But Let's continue. Let's just continue before we jump into any conclusions.
We have committed to an arrangement under which if US soldiers come to Ghana and kill Ghanaians, Ghanaians cannot go to court to ask for redress. We have committed ourselves to an arrangement under which property destroyed by US soldiers in Ghana, if your property is destroyed by US soldiers in Ghana, you cannot go to court. We have given our frequencies for the use of the US military for
It doesn't matter whether you lose a life or lives, property, or anything, but these people have legal immunity. You cannot take them to court. You cannot ask for reparation. You cannot ask for redress. You cannot, you have to bear the loss. You have to take the loss, shut your mouth, and continue if that is what you have to do. Let's continue.
free. Our frequencies are given to the US forces for free. When Ghanaians have to pay millions in order to get frequencies to establish radio stations and television stations and so on, the US can take it for free. Excuse me. Under the agreement, US soldiers entering Ghana are not subject to inspection, they are not subject to search. You can't search them, you can't look through their bags, you can't examine what is on their body. And when they leave, they are also not subject to customs inspection. They cannot be searched. US soldiers do not need passports to enter Ghana. They don't need passports to enter Ghana. All they need is their ID cards. Under these circumstances, we are
Once again, I must say I'm not an expert when it comes to security matters. But putting these conditions beforehand, that when I come to your house, I know what I am doing in your house. But you're not going to search me upon arrival, neither shall you search me for confidentiality purposes when I want to leave. And I can leave anytime. See, that is already so suspicious. It just, I mean, it's a red flag. It rings an alarm bell. Why do you even have to put that condition beforehand? Okay, I know there's confidentiality and privacy, but if you're already putting that to the front,
giving US soldiers privileges way and above diplomats. Because even the American ambassador needs a passport to enter Ghana.
listen to this.
A US soldier does not need a passport to enter Ghana. In any case, what are these soldiers doing on our continent? What are they doing on our continent? Our leaders must ask themselves some interesting questions.
Good question. What are they doing in our continent? By the way, just so you know, so the United States can go so deep into this agreement kind of thing to say that the soldiers will have better privileges than diplomats, than the United States ambassador and diplomats. There is something, my friend. You cannot fool me in this one. There is something. You cannot search me. You cannot ask for redress once I kill you. You cannot ask for compensation once I destroy your property. You cannot access my facility even though it is in your land. I have to do my things. Man, if you need all that privacy and confidentiality, which I really know you need so bad, go back to the United States and set that up, because I will not have business trying to find out what's going on in that military camp, military base in your country. Honestly. All right, all right. Now, what are they really doing in our continent? There is a lot of things that are doing. Please go back to our previous video and find out more. But just to shed some light, some little light, after enslaving and taking us into slavery for some over 400 some years, Europe and the West, United States of America included, have never really given up on, I think they have an attachment issue. They have a bloated ego. They ride a very high horse and they need to come down to climb down that high horse. They have never given up on Africa. They don't really think there is a way Africa can stop being their property. There is no way life can continue. And I know this really means it. Life cannot continue if Africa is not their property. Now, this is what I often term in my videos as colonial legacy, or in other terms, neo-colonialism, a continuation of colonialism. That is, in all honesty, that is the best description. That is the best description I can give as why they, they have these army. Because I really question, why do we have now? There's this scapegoat. I understand the scapegoat of peacekeeping missions, humanitarian aid, counterterrorism. These are always the scapegoats as reasons that are cited to why we need to be to have our troops in your land. But guess what? By the way, if you don't know, if you just don't know, Ghana is one of the most stable countries in that region of West Africa, and even in the entire of Africa when it comes to who really needs that humanitarian aid and peacekeeping mission and what counterterrorism thingy as hell. Ghana doesn't really list high on that round. Well, I know they need to come close, to they come bring boots close to the ground where there is the insurgents of militant groups, insurgents of terrorist groups, but then take the army bases to the exact location of the insurgencies, not in the neighborhood. In Kenya, my country, is one of the most stable countries politically and economically in our region of East Africa. But for years and years, we have Batuk. What is Batuk? British Army Training Unit in Kenya. Because they need to have, I don't know, to keep peace. We are peaceful. In fact, we as a country that is, by extension, part of the Horn of Africa, and which is not very politically stable, we come out as a very, very stable country. Our neighbor here to the east, country of Somalia, has been rocked with the terrorism for years, we can say, and we also have a lot more to talk about on whether this is exactly terrorism as it is, as we're being told, as we usually told, or it's something else. But for the purpose of this video, now Somalia has not been really at peace for some decades now. There's been ups and downs in Djibouti, in Sudan, in South Sudan, and in Kenya. Borders all of these countries. But guess who is really at peace within her borders? It's Kenya. Of course, we're getting negative influence and sometimes terrorist attacks here and there in Kenya, just like in the United States, which is very far from the Horn of Africa. But we're a very stable country because we have the British Army in our land, on our soil, for years and years. in the name of keeping. And where's the peace that they're keeping? Because we should have seen the peace then. Well, they should have countered the terrorism that they say is a counter-terrorism move, but it keeps on growing. So, what is the need? It's a colonial legacy. Now, leave Ghana. Let's travel miles across the continent of Africa. Let's go far to the Horn of Africa, a country, a small, small country called Djibouti. Djibouti is in Eastern Africa. Djibouti is a very, very small country in the Horn of Africa. Djibouti's total population is under 2 million people. See, when I say under 2 million, I'm trying to draw a comparison to Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. Nairobi has a population of 5 to 6 million people at any given time currently. Djibouti, in its totality as a country, Nairobi is a capital city. Djibouti is a country, a sovereign state, has 1 point something million people. But guess how many army bases we have in Djibouti? The United States have their army base. China have their army base. Germany have their army base. Spain has her army base. Italy has her army base. Saudi Arabia lately has also expressed interest in having. Why is this in a very small country like Djibouti? Do they need all those weapons being brought left, right, and center by all those people? Guess why? It is a very strategic location at the Gulf of Aden, where the Gulf of Aden meets the Red Sea. A very, very important international shipping route, especially for gas and oil and everything. It's really, that is really the link between the West and the East. So it is strategic interest, not peace, not humanitarian aid, not counterterrorism. It is business in layman language. So one, colonial legacy. Two, strategic interest. Three, influence and power dynamics is another big reason. See, I have just mentioned that Europe and the West has never given up on Africa. It cannot imagine Africa being free. So they want to be there. Ghana, sorry, not Ghana. France becoming the victim currently, the victim, where the Sahel states have chased away their troops. Recently, in the last video, we talked about Chad and Senegal asking them to leave their country peacefully because they don't see any business. They don't see any help, And then we have all the countries of West Africa. Now it's a snowball. They're snowballing, gathering momentum. Every country is joining the list, and the list is growing fast and fat. Now, France have always planned to have their, not planned, but they have had their army in all of those West African countries. Look at now Kenya, my country, Kenya. We have the UK having its army base in Kenya. Look at all of those that I mentioned, over 5 countries having their soldiers in a small country of Djibouti. I mean, that is just trying to assert their political dominance. We're still the ones here. We're being told we are former colonies, but we are not really actually former. I mean, I think it is a way of them communicating amongst themselves to tell each other that, I'm still here and I'm the one who still controls here. They want to have that influence. And then, of course, another reason I must also accept is weak African political and military structures. These the political puppets and those leaders. This creates a loophole, uh, for these people in the West to exploit in the name of we're coming to give assistance. Assistance, but the truth is, we know that Africa is endowed so much with oil and gas, mineral resources, and just so many rare, earth elements. And that these people from the West are enviously protecting. And the way for them to protect is everybody try have a cake on this so-called Africa. Now,
Of course, they say that there's a global village, whatever that means, but they say that there's a global village. If this is a global village as they define, then everybody has interest everywhere. Now, if we decided to station a battalion of the US or of the Ghanaian army in Washington, what would happen? Now, if the US would not allow us to station a battalion in Washington, why do we then allow them to station a battalion on our soil?
if Kenya were to ask the UK to let us have an army base in the UK, would they accept?
Ab initio, this arrangement means that we have accepted that we are inferior. And that is one of the reasons why we need to wake up and dismantle these arrangements in order to establish our equality and so on. I suspect.
You Africans, one thing about you is you love to say, let it go, let it be. But as a people who historically have suffered because of these, being warm to visitors, we welcomed them and they came and they enslaved us for over 400 years, stole our properties, stole our land, stole our people. They say once bitten, twice shy. Now we must really question. Honestly, we have to just ask what is happening anytime. That is what I have for you today. This is the juice that I wanted to serve you today, you black people, you Africans. What do you think about this? Go down to the comments section and share your views on this. Share this video as well to as many people as possible. Give this video a thumbs up. Give it a super thanks if you wish, to support this channel. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel for more interesting content, enlightening content like this, and much more. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.